that's why some teachers don't want to teach it in the classroom. The next objective is struggling with dangerous subjects. So the three things that we're going to talk about is teacher knowledge, teacher conduct, and determine students' level of engagement. So the first one, teacher knowledge. The teacher needs to make sure that they understand what they are teaching, and it's imperative that they have an in-depth professional training on how to deal with diversity. My grandmother is a teacher at a middle school, and I think they have had a training about how to deal with diversity. My grandma, she's not old, but she was born in the century of when racism was bad. She had tomatoes threw at her and everything, so that was good that she had that training on how to deal with diversity. Number two, teacher conduct. During the conversation or discussion, the teacher should always remain neutral. They shouldn't be trying to pick one side in front of the class. The teacher shouldn't be one-sided or opinionated, and they need to make sure that they don't give out their biases about the situation or how they feel about the situation. They also need to make sure all sides of the issue is fully presented. The last one would be determine students' level of engagement. So just according to the student's grade, the teacher has to be careful of how he or she presents the information or about the subject race. The teacher may not be able to have the same dialogue about race with a middle school class that they can have with a high school class, because a middle school class, they're young, they're immature. Even in high school, you have some immature students, so you just got to be careful on how you present that information. Teaching dangerous subject is inevitable, but certain things like racism needs to be included in the classrooms at some point. However, a teacher's knowledge, teacher's conduct, and level are very important with teaching dangerous subjects. So the last objective that we're going to talk about that I thought was important in the book was breaking the silence of racism. After reading this book, teachers should be able to use their resources and initiate dialogue about race. In today's society, it is important that we teach students about race, tolerance, and how to embrace cultural diversity. So, how can I use what I learned from this book in my PE class? This book taught me a lot. Even though I've grown up and known about racism. After reading this book, I understood the importance of the conversation and activities to help students become more tolerant of each other's culture in everyday life today. It also taught me how to bring a certain level of cohesiveness in my class. It provided me with teaching strategies on how to implement activities that promote neutrality. So how to keep everybody equal, show everybody that we're equal. I would put students of different races and groups in assigned activities so they will interact and learn from another. One of my favorites is, I even saw this online, it jump-started me to think about projects and activities that I could use in my class. For example, the culture bag. So a student would bring something from home, and they would be able to talk about either its tradition of what they bought from home or how it relates to their culture, so that each student can learn about a student's culture at home and how they were raised. Teaching dangerous subjects has its issues, but there must be a starting point. Why not the classroom? Why can't we as teachers remind students that no matter the color of our skin or where we are raised, that we are all one? So I think that is the most important thing to me, just teaching my class that to unite and that we are one, even if our skin colors are different or how we are raised, that nobody will be treated different from each other. Everybody will be treated fair and as one. So I like this quote that I found online. If we cannot now end our differences, at least we can help the world, make the world safe for diversity. I'm going to read that again. If we cannot now end our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity. And that was a quote by John F. Kennedy. And that's it. I know in the book it talked about, I just want to read this, about Afro, sorry. In the book it discussed Afrocentrism. So that would be another form of how you can use it in multicultural education. So that would be part of the single group studies, which focus on one group at a time, and it emphasizes culture, parallelism, including diverse staffing, unbiased and inclusive curriculum, and affirmation of languages of other than English. So I thought that was pretty cool. But this book is really good. I advise everybody to read it. Thank you.